Yes, guys, what's up? So, tired, really tired. Hopkins, I don't know, is he finished? Is he not finished? I don't know. But, thing's this, right? Hopkins got his ass whooped by Kovalev, and I think that's a sad day, like, what happened, but I think at the end of it all, put the volume down, hold on. Oh, where could I put it? Right, so basically, right, Hopkins got whooped. I picked Hopkins to win this fight, but you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? I felt that I'm gonna just go about the fight first of all. I was constantly annoyed by Bernard Hopkins in the fight because I felt I mean, look, Kovalev said he didn't get hurt. I felt there was times where Hopkins wobbled him. He caught him at least, and it was like, where were the follow-ups? You know, you can make excuses like mechanics and I couldn't because of this and that, but really, if you're losing the fight by a mileage by rounds and you get your opponent wobbled, I mean, in this, you know, early in the mid rounds, he had him hurt a few times, like here and there, and it's like, why did he not follow up and try and go for the knockout? I can't find a reason why he didn't. But he didn't. There was times in the fight where he did hurt him, he just didn't. He just refused to throw any punches. If you look at his punch output, it was so low. Which brings me on to my next point. We'll talk about Hopkins. The thing's this, right? That in boxing, sometimes I think like these fighters, they get too clever for their own good, and it's like they start thinking too much about skill, too much about boxing IQ, too much about it, and they miss the basic thing that the more punches you throw, the more likely you are to land, you know. And it's like when you're going for the knockout, too much defense. Defense doesn't win you rounds. You know what I mean? What wins you rounds is aggressiveness and throwing punches. And like, I feel that defense is good, but you should utilize it to an extent and not like too much, because I think these fighters, some of them are like, and I think Hopkins did it tonight, where he was like being too clever for his own good, and his like defense were good, but it's like, what's defense without offense, you know? And I think fighters, young fighters, upcoming fighters need to really notice that defense without offense is nothing, and offense is boxing. And it's like, I know Floyd Mayweather Jr. has created this hype around defense and that, but don't like be fooled. You know, that's not everything. That doesn't win you rounds. And Hopkins and Kovalev proved that tonight. That Hopkins wasn't active. But here's the thing: Hopkins is 49 years old. Kovalev was kind of a guy who we didn't know how, you know, good he's gonna be against someone like Hopkins. I thought Hopkins would be a lot busier, but I think that from the first round, right, it turned into a 10-8 round. And it wasn't really a huge punch, but it turned into a 10-8 round. I think it was kind of slightly off balance, slightly because of the knockdown, but it turned into a 10-8 round. And I think from then onwards, it was like, you know, Hopkins lost the next round, and it suddenly became, right, I'm 3 points behind. And it's like, damn, I need to, and he started like getting hit with shots, hard shots. And it was like he was defending, and I don't know, it just all turned negative. I think if they had I think if they had a rematch, Hopkins would lose. But I don't think it would go in the same fashion that it went in this fight, because I think that like Hopkins, if you fought him again, that, you know, first round knockdown wouldn't happen, and his body language would be a bit different. It'd be a bit more positive in the next fight, throughout the fight. But I mean, I don't see him winning. Like, he can't beat Kovalev. Kovalev is too strong. And also at the same time, on the round 12 where he stuck his tongue out at Kovalev for missing, I think that was stupid, because it's not like you win in the fight for you to do that. But, you know, going back to this, right, Hopkins was 49 years old in this fight, a very old person. To be able to box 12 rounds is a miracle. He was really conserving his punches. He was tired. He's 49, do you know what I mean? Like, he can't fight how he did when he was young. And I think that the way I was looking at this fight, right, was this, that Hopkins would... The reason I picked Hopkins to win this fight, I just personally thought Kovalev would come out swinging early. He didn't. I think that's what Hopkins was relying on, was for Kovalev to come out swinging early, tire himself out, Hopkins to come and start dominating the rounds from like round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and start dominating him and just outskill him and just outpoint him basically and catch him. Hopkins didn't do anything like that. I think sometimes a fighter can kind of throw away the fight, and I feel like irrespective of how hard your opponent hits, like, and you're scared of getting knocked out, sometimes you need to go for it. And when it got to about round 6, 7, I think Hopkins should have just like gone for it all in one round, just gone all out. And if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. But he didn't. He continued to box. There were times when he caught him flush and he didn't follow it up. There was no follow up. He straight away went back onto the back foot, and he just like waited for a counter punch to come through, and he didn't do anything like that. But Hopkins is 49 years old. He did very well to last 12 rounds against a young, hungry Kovalev. I thought Hopkins had the ability to win this fight. Having watched it now, it was just, this guy's too strong. He was too strong for Hopkins. And, you know, he proved it on the night, and that's sort of the way it goes. What should Hopkins do now? I won't mind seeing him fight Stevenson, but, like, realistically, with Stevenson, I mean, how good is he? I mean, he's a good fighter, Donny Superman Stevenson, but I mean, he showed shades of being a little bit vulnerable in his last fight. I feel Hopkins looked really inactive in this fight, really inactive. Whether that was down to Kovalev or whatever, it is what it is. But I'm really tired right now. We didn't know much about Kovalev, you know, to make a solid prediction on this fight, really. But we've seen that, like, Kovalev, obviously. Oh yeah. But we've seen that Kovalev, you know, he's king of this division now. I don't think anyone's gonna beat him. He's very strong, but I'm very tired, guys. So good night. I'm gonna sleep tight, and I ain't gonna let the bed bugs bite. But now the execution of Nick Hopkins, what do you guys think he should do now? How do you think he performed? Did you guys get annoyed by his performance a little bit and the things that he did? But at the end of the day, it's like he's 49 years old. And another thing, when he did his post-fight interview, he was talking about Mayweather and talking about HBO and the best fighting the best and stuff like that. And that's what boxing should be about. I agree with 100%. Like, I'm sick of this whole, like, nonsense of avoiding and cherry picking and not fighting the best. It's like the fights that should be on TV, right? I could make you a list, yeah, and I've done a list on Twitter, and that's what should be on, you know, the best versus the best, and Bernard Hopkins faced the best, and he got his ass whooped, but hey, so what is boxing, you know? Let me know what you think, comment section below, subscribe as always, follow me on Twitter at Shama_Ayub. I think this is the end of the Bernard the Execution Hopkins. I'm really tired, guys. In a bit.